Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to another edition of DIY Money.
DIY money.
What's shaking, Logan?
Oh, Quint.
Oh, Logan.
I got the puppy.
I know you did.
I got
It's
the
awesome.
puppy.
And how's it going? You're in
it's-
the honeymoon stage.
I'm working a lot.
Actually, I haven't seen her. He or her?
He.
Okay.
Yep. His name is Banjo, which is, probably the whitest name of all time, but it happens.
Whitest? Definitely white, yeah.
But he.
You are white, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bingo. But he is. He's great. He's actually been pretty well trained. Like the first 8 weeks, he's pretty good at potty. Although I got a text from my wife this morning that said disaster in our bedroom. So
It's happening.
yeah,
It's happening.
not great. So
all
it's
right. And
it's
you're
all
getting
part of
ready
the
to
process.
leave for a few days.
And I'm gonna be gone for a few days. My
That'll
wife
be
is gonna
fun.
kill me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. Well, I advised against said puppy. Did not take my advice or guidance, but that's okay because I had a dog too when I was about your age, and
Some things you just gotta learn.
and
the
I
hard
was
way.
like, why did I do this? This was not. I love the dog, but this was a terrible, terrible decision. And but yeah, you live and learn. It is what it
you
is.
live and learn.
No problem. All right, well, let's go right into our housekeeping odds and ends and then get to our question because today we got a good one. So housekeeping odds and ends, this podcast brought to you by Joule Financial, Joule Financial.com. Visit us on the web. If you have a complex situation or a problem that, maybe not a problem, be a problem. We don't want problems, no.
Difficult situation.
If you have anyways, you need a second opinion, an advisor, hit us up. Love to chat with you. What else? Other odds and ends. We need questions. Keep sending these great questions. Questions are on the rise. I really like that. They're on the come up, I would say. Is that still, do kids use that word still? Come up? No? That was a shoot. Who was that? Who did that? I'm on the come up. Anyways, okay. Yeah. The guy who wrote not the thrift shop song, Macklemore. That was his word, wasn't it? Okay, but he's old. He's old now? All right, I'm getting nothing here. Let's go to our question. Brittany, what do you got?
DIY! Hey, DIY Money. This is Brittany from the Bay Area. I have a question about dollar cost averaging. So I'm familiar with it being used for investments, but I was wondering if you'd recommend applying dollar cost averaging to withdrawals as you get closer to and then eventually enter retirement. I guess I was thinking that you would spread the price at which you're withdrawing, so you might, in theory, decrease the chance of accidentally withdrawing large amounts at bad times in the market when the price has dipped down. But yeah, can't wait to hear what you guys think. Thanks so much.
Okay, first of all, love the Bay Area. Fun fact, I worked a summer. Brittany will like this. I worked one summer between my freshman and sophomore year. My goodness, it was ages ago. In Embarcadero Center, right off the Bay Bridge. And what I would do, I had the greatest day ever. I would wake up. I stayed at a family member who lived in Marin, which was across the across the Golden Gate and across that area over there, beautiful area. And I would park. There was this parking on the, I guess, what is the Golden Gate Cross? I don't know. Whatever that body of water is there. I don't even know. Anyways, that's gonna bother me because it's probably a simple answer. I'm gonna look really dumb. But anyways, I would park and then I would hop on this ferry. And I would, grab a cup of coffee. There was newspapers at the time. I know that's a weird thing, but I'd read my newspaper, and I'd take the ferry across to the Embarcadero Center, and then I would go to work. And then after working, I would get on the ferry, and I would go home. It was awesome. It was amazing.
That does sound like a pretty
It was
cool.
great. So I love the Bay Area. So anyways, yeah, that's my story. I
So
really
number one,
enjoyed it.
and then number two. That's a great question.
It is a great question, but I'm a little confused because, number one, the question kind of infers that when you are at retirement, it's like the investment game stops. And instead of continuing to invest and then using those proceeds over the rest of your life, I get the idea that she maybe thinks that people say, oh, now that I'm 65, I've built up this 401k or whatever date you want to retire, 60, 55, 75, whatever. And now I'm going to move it to cash and I'm going to live off it. And that normally is not how things work. And it's not abnormal to think that that happens. And the reason I say that is so many people come into us and they think their time horizon is retirement, when in actuality, their time horizon is life expectancy. Even target date funds, this is a huge misnomer. If you look at a target date fund, so brief recap, a target date fund is a mutual fund that is asset allocated and diversified, but over a period of time becomes less aggressive in the market to the target date that you have chosen. For example, if you are retiring, call it in 25 years, and you said, well, my target date then is a 2050, right? 25 years. I'm going to invest. A poor assumption would be, this is really important to understand, a poor assumption would be to assume that by the time you get to 2050, that target date fund is all cash.
Completely out of the market.
It's not. Mm-hmm. In fact, it's more like 60-40, which means you still have 60% invested in the market. Don't believe me? Look at a target date 2025 right now. I'm hypothesizing. I'm guessing it's 50 or 60% still invested. So I think, Brittany, and again, I like your question. I'm going to let Logan answer how you actually withdraw during retirement, but there really is no other way other than to systematically remove your monies out of investments while in retirement. But I would caution you against the idea of, oh, I'm at retirement, now everything comes out of the market, regardless of whether the market's at highs or lows or whatever. So what say you, Logan?
Well, I'm going to ask you another question on that. Let's assume that she understands that part of it and is going to continue investing, but let's say that you have $5,000 a month that you need to live off of. That's going to come out of your investment account. So that's $60,000 in a year. If it were you and you were doing this for your financial situation, would you prefer January 1, you take that $60,000, you put it on the sidelines, and you start sending yourself $5,000 a month? Or do you keep it invested in your allocation and then take $5,000 a month over the year?
Oh, do you think that's what she was meaning?
That's how I took it.
Really? Interesting. That's a great way to take it. She probably did mean that, and she and you are sitting there the entire time going, Quint's an idiot. That's not at all what we meant. So,
it's a good recap. It's a good reminder.
Anyways, no. But again, I've had a lot of people who assume that like a target date fund goes to all cash. So I'm going to hedge a little bit on this, and I'm going to say it depends. And why I'm going to say it depends is and again, I might have a little bit more market insight than somebody, and I don't necessarily want to, quote unquote, time the market, but I would like the idea of if I needed that 60 and markets were at, let's call it all-time highs, and we've been running for years, I certainly might put that 60 in a money market account so it sits there and I'm using it every month, and I have no concern about that being depleted. Now, the reality of that is that's probably a terrible decision. Like that's not a great decision, because 1 year of, let's say, a $60,000 withdrawal that ultimately should be a low percentage of my overall portfolio, right? Should be 3 to 4% of my whole portfolio if I want it to last. The grand scheme is that that's not going to make that much big difference then if I move 3 to 4% out of the market, because let's say it drops 10% during the given year. 10% on a 4% amount is a 0.4% overall portfolio move. I know I lost some of you, but my point is that's not a massive move that I have kind of quote unquote avoided by moving it to the sidelines, but I still might do it.
Yeah, this is a hard one because it's all psychology driven. In fact, the math doesn't really factor in whenever we talk about dollar cost averaging either. Because if you look at the math for dollar cost averaging into the market, it says you should just take all your contributions at the very beginning of the year and throw them into the market, right? But we know that's pretty tough psychologically. Or if you have a big lump of sum of money, you have $100,000, and you're like, okay, what do I do with this? The psychology says it's better to wait and do a systematic DCA, dollar cost average, into the market over time, because then you're not going to see those massive market moves immediately when you put it in. It's similar, I think, on this other flip side of it, but I think that it's probably more psychologically easier if you're taking a portion out each month versus trying to time and take out a big lump sum at a particular time. However, I'm going to totally caveat, and this is what I want to talk about the rest of the time. You have to know yourself. You have to know how you function and how you think about the stock market. If you're the person that when the market is down 10%, you're holding on to the rails, like you are on the roller coaster and you're freaking out. One, you're probably too aggressive in your allocation anyways, but two, you might psychologically need to have a portion of cash. It's probably more than 1 year, probably 2 years of cash or money market or short-term treasuries on the sidelines that is available to you for withdrawing out of your accounts. Or we see this a lot of the times with emergency funds. Like our standard DIY money, 3 to 6 months emergency fund, right? But we see people all the time that have 100, 200,000 that's sitting on the sidelines because they need that extra security. So that's really what we're asking about here is, do you want to take a big lump sum of money, put it on the sidelines and park it and start drawing off of that, or take it out month by month? And you have to know yourself. You have to know if you're going to be more comfortable and be able to look at an account and say, I have 2 years of income sitting here. I can ride out this wave. Because there's definitely people out there that need that security. Even the fixed income. I see this a lot. Like if you have an account that has stocks and bonds in it, or a target date fund, that's going to move up and down. It's not going to move up and down as much if you have more bonds than just 100% equities, but it's still going to move up and down. Sometimes you need to take off, even if it's just from the fixed income side, a portion of a year or 2 years, put it on the sidelines so you can see in an account, there's my 2 years of income. Although you have it, maybe 40% of your portfolio is in fixed income, so you have something that's fixed and easy to access, you might need to separate that out to literally see that I have that security and I can ride out the waves and the storms that will inevitably come. We know there's going to be another 2x4. We know there's going to be news headlines that are, the world is ending. This time's the time. It's going to end now. Tariffs are going to be forever and the market's going to go to zero, or COVID, or whatever it is. That's going to happen. So you got to know yourself and know, do I need to have that money parked on the sidelines? So to answer your question, I think the DCA makes sense taking it out monthly, but I think if you know yourself better, you'll know how to answer that question.
Excellent. I have nothing else to add there. That was really good. So, Brittany, hopefully we answered your question, gave you some value there, and shout out to the Bay Area. Thanks for sending that question in. We'll send you a $25 Amazon gift card. Keep those questions coming. Send them to podcast@DIYmoney.org. That's podcast@DIYmoney.org. And remember, the secret to wealth is pretty simple. Live on less than you make, invest the rest, and do so for a very long time. Make it a great one.